Welcome, everyone, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time here live on Fight TV on Thursday, October 22nd, 2020. Damian Nelson coming here from the PWR studios, the home office of the Pro Wrestling Report. And I am joined by the two people who make this show what it is, that being the co-host of many years, one David, Octavius the Tiberius, the alleged backyard, one-time knockout, straight edge, hardcore, Hall of Famer hero. And we're also, of course, joined by the superstar of the Super Show, our own resident superhero, Shane Helms. Boys, how the heck y'all is tonight?
I'm doing good, doing good.
How can you not be excited about tonight?
I'm very excited about tonight. We're live on Fight TV. We're live across social media channels. I'm exemplary in excitement. I am full of excitement tonight.
So much good stuff to talk about. Yeah, exactly. Something.
So much.
Hey, but did you know that Hercules was in Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, Hernandez.
Yeah, that one.
We want to thank everybody.
I had no idea he was part cockroach.
Yeah, it is now.
So we want to thank everybody for joining us here live on Fight TV, FITE Fight, and also across our social media channels. We are live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and also Periscope via Twitter. We make this show very interactive. We want to hear your comments. And
whoa. Not all of them.
We want to see your comments, and some of those we will actually discuss and share right here on air live on Thursday, October 22nd. But gentlemen, there's so much to get to this week. We have a lot of programming announcements that we're going to make over the course of the show as well. We're bringing you some special editions of the show, live editions of the show, coming up over the next few days, and we'll talk about that as we go down the road here. But to that point, gentlemen, tonight here on this live edition of Primetime, because Dave really wants to make sure we're done in time for the debate tonight.
Yes.
We are going to cover two shows. We're going to cover two shows. We're going to cover AEW Dynamite from last night, and we're also going to cover NXT on the USA Network from last night as well. So keep those comments coming. Again, if you're watching us on Periscope, simply at us, comment on the video at PWR360, at any of us individually. And also, if you're watching on Facebook, you can simply comment on the live show as well. And also on YouTube, join the live comment, the live chat, and your comments pop up right here on our dashboard. And Dave, that's the most restraint I've seen you show in a very long time. What are you itching to say?
Oh, nothing. Forget it. I forgot about it already.
Of course. Yep. So we're trying to make sure your Twitter pass doesn't get revoked this week, David. Here all last week.
Well, hold on. I hired your company, whatever that was, that you scrubbed all your stuff down. I'm good. Now, Shane, that's a different story.
But I thought Shane Helms didn't say that.
Some things I say.
Yeah. Hey, some of the twills he put out there in Braille. Man, those are
You got to see them to believe them.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of seeing to believe, last night, Dynamite, it was the ratings winner again.
Okay, can we stop that? Let's be honest. I don't think NXT is going to win in the ratings anytime soon.
So you're conceding?
Yeah, I will. I mean,
conceding what? Was something on the line here?
No.
NXT will never win in the ratings. They have.
Oh,
well, yeah, they have. But you know what it is? It's just watching the AEW right now is like how Nitro first started. It was okay. I'm going to watch that over Raw because more things have been happening on AEW, much the same way as Monday Nitro. It's going to be hard to sway 150,000 people to just start watching NXT every week.
What was the differential in the ratings this week? Just
this week's ratings, AEW down about 75,000 viewers, scoring 753,000 viewers, and NXT rather consistent to its 651,000 last week. It scored 644,000 this week. Now, it must be stated that 9 million people were tuned into the World Series at the same time last night.
Yeah, I noticed on my timeline there wasn't as much Wednesday night chatter last night, so I expected that the numbers would be down. But what I did notice as well is that the chatter picked up in the midnight hour, and today a lot of chatter as well. So this is how the ratings can be like skewed a little bit, because I think a lot of people went back and watched stuff on replay or other platforms, especially when news of the musical got out. There were people that, whether they liked it or loved it, the news about it and the chatter about it, I guarantee made people go watch it. A lot of good things on both sides.
Well, I have to say that after last night's Dynamite, and Shane, you mentioned it, we had to wait till the midnight hour. Well, tonight's edition of Pro Wrestling Report, and I'd like to think that we started this trend several weeks ago when we became the world, but it's a musical edition of the show live.
So you started it?
Well, remember when we sang "We Are the World"? We gave them the idea.
Okay.
So tonight's a musical edition, so get in key. Start doing your throat massages and your warm ups, and we're going to sing tonight. Fly me to the moon and let me wish upon the stars.
Listen, I only sing if Jimmy Hart's nearby. That's in my contract. That's a long-term deal.
So we talked about the comments, the live comments, and you guys.
You don't know how music contracts work. They sign you in for life. They're worse than wrestling contracts.
Yes, you know, I was the sixth Backstreet Boy.
Just ask TLC how that worked out for them.
I'm not sure that's the best example.
Well, it's one I can think of.
It's the best one he could think of.
I want to reset here and talk about something we talked about weeks ago, which is the ratings matter, especially against itself. So not necessarily AEW versus NXT, but against itself, its own trend lines that it's setting. But what we had decided on this broadcast was that we would start, to be fair, discussing the show that had the most viewers, because
let's just go in alphabetical order from now on.
The audience is picking. Sure, we can do that, David Hero. Let's go in alphabetical order. But I do want to make the point that we've got a couple comments here, and you could agree or disagree, but ratings don't tell the entire story. So Mick Thomason on YouTube saying NXT was better last night. Freedom Tech Gaming on YouTube saying agreed, NXT was a better show last night. Now we will discuss that and get into the ins and outs of that as we go on here. But we must start with Dynamite, and you can't start with Dynamite without starting with the dinner date that MJF and Chris Jericho had last night, which was hyped, but not overhyped. But I tell you what, they may have under-promised, they over-delivered. I, as a fan watching this, loved every minute of it. Now, there was one point where I was a bit taken aback, and I said, oh, this isn't going to end well. And that was when MJF ordered his steak first, and he ordered it well done. And I said, he's not a sophisticated man, because nobody orders their steak well done. That's just ruining it. Unless you're at Denny's. That's the only way to make sure the spoil is out of it. But from there on, not only because they played tribute to the greatest performing group of all time, the Rat Pack, specifically Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, with Me and My Shadow, but it was so unexpectedly amazing. I was watching it, and I was in shock and awe the entire time, because it was so great. It was so ridiculous. It was so fun. It was so perfect. It was so unexpected. They did a great job, not only MJF and Chris Jericho, but this is going to be controversial, I'm sure. I watched that segment, and I thought back to some of the greater segments in wrestling, and I would liken this segment to the splendor that was that of the This Is Your Life segment with Rock and Mick Foley, for its ridiculousness and its entertaining value at the same time. Is it as good? Absolutely not. But is it in the same category? Absolutely, in my opinion. But let's pick it apart. Let's hear what the promoter has to say. Let's hear what the booker has to say. Let's hear what the performer and the producer has to say, the wrestler and the producer. We'll start with, well, I know Dave's probably going to hate it, so let's start with you, Shane.
First of all, I hate when we go out of order. I do that.
Wait, what's our order?
Because that's not why I started the show.
Oh, Shane, bless your heart. We haven't done it match by match in weeks.
Yes, we have. Me and Dave have been trying to get you to do match by match every week, but you jump around like it's Pulp Fiction.
So Wardlow versus Jungle Boy.
Since we've already started,
Jungle Boy. Go right ahead, Shane.
Since we've already started about the musical, what I loved is that I thought it was going to be a food fight. Like, this is going to end in a food fight. Anytime there's a wrestling segment in a restaurant or there's food nearby, it ends in a food fight. And so I was like, man, I hope they don't do a food fight. And then, the verbiage is good. When they started singing, there was a moment where I was like, what in the fuck is this? And then I went on a journey and I was like, this ain't bad. And then MJF got pipes and I was like, this is actually pretty good. And then it just got funnier and funnier, and they were throwing in lines, throwing in jabs, a jab at Matt Hardy, calling, I think, John Moxley a jackass at some point, all the while singing tunes. I loved it. I went back, watched it again. I watched it several times. And I was it's something that's never been done in wrestling. I got to applaud them for the bravery of doing that, because when you swing that big, you're taking a gamble that there's going to be a lot of people that hate it. But Jericho just clicked for me. I think it clicks for a lot of people. He just clicks for me. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, for me, watching it, when I first saw it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, what in the I'm like, I am absolutely going to hate this. And as a wrestling fan, yes, I didn't like it. But to be fair, Shane, like I mentioned earlier, I've watched it at least 10 or 11 times because it was that entertaining. It was that good. And if it did anything besides make people laugh and be creative, it made MJF a bigger star, because I legit thought MJF was lip syncing when he first started. I did. I looked, I'm like, okay.
I did too.
I'm like, oh, this is some bullshit. Now they're going to lip sync. Now we got a Milli Vanilli tribute thing going. And then when Jericho was singing, I'm like, wait a minute. Well, MJF isn't going to lip sync if Jericho's going to sing. And I was like, I'll be damned. It was good. And it was cheesy. It was obnoxious. And like you and I have talked about, when they're trying to make AEW professional wrestling and real and mean something with records and wins and losses and not be sports entertainment, and then do something like this, there's a little bit of a disconnect. But at the end of the day, if you look at the big picture, when MJF and Jericho finally do go head to head and toe to toe and belly to belly and bumper to bumper, it's going to be great. You know what I mean? It's a good build. It's a nice way to go. But in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. But at the end of the day, it was some good business.
It was the journey, right? You went through all of these ranges of emotion. There was confusion. Yeah. There was definitely confusion. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, when the curtain opened, I'm like, what in the blue hell is this?
Yeah. It went from confusion, I should say, to amazement so quickly. And I enjoyed that journey. You can take me on a ride like that, I'm in. And we talked about this today earlier on the phone, but I thought it reminded me of Steve Austin and Kurt Angle singing each other. Rock used to go out there and sing. Hell, I used to go out and sing every night in 3 count and get my ass to up. So as a musical act, I appreciated it, but I don't think any musical act had the balls to do what they did. Never to break that to break that fourth wall like they did, singing to the camera, the crooning, which, I get the Rat Pack. Listen, Wu-Tang's the greatest musical group of all time. I'll give you your Rat Pack shit.
You and Disney are going to fight over that.
Listen, we can't put nobody over the Wu. That's just how it is. I loved it. And there's going to be people that don't like it, but, you can't please everybody. But I applaud that shit.
And then let's not overlook how much extra money AEW spent on having all these extra girls on the show. You had them on the Kenny Omega entrance, and you had at least a dozen or so, in the sing-along session. I was like, wow.
Were they the cheerleaders? I kind of assumed they were the Jacksonville Jaguars cheerleaders. Could have been wrong. Yeah. But they're under their employee. They could have just threw them an extra payday. But who knows?
For me at the end, again, when I first saw it, I'm like, I am not going to like this. But again, I have watched it 10 or 11 or 12 times because it's just, it's like a car wreck that you're like, oh, it's actually pretty awesome.
And then it turns into NASCAR. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Segment of the week for me. Segment of the week.
You know what? Absolutely. You got to put, because if you're watching AEW, NXT, and Impact, hands down. But how much longer are they going to now go with this? I mean, obviously, with the town hall next week, you got to figure that MJF is going to join the inner circle, because you can't do all that pomp and circumstance and then not have him in.
I don't know. As unpredictable as that was last night, I'm excited about what's going forward. Sometimes you just got to let that story unfold.
And for me, the biggest takeaway was that segment made MJF a bigger star, because if he can sing like that, he can do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's all you need?
You know what? Yeah, because certain guys he has all the tools already. He understands psychology, he can cut a great promo. But when he can do something out of the blue like that, it's like, okay, you know what? You're absolutely 110% a star.
It's like watching a comedian. Like, you remember watching Eddie Murphy, and then he'll break out in the song. You're like, hey, like he's already great, and he can sing too.
You mean Andrew Dice Clay in his nursery rhymes?
Yeah.
Wait, if we're gonna bring up Eddie,
don't we all confuse Eddie Murphy with Andrew Dice Clay? Such an easy
I do.
If we're gonna bring up Eddie Murphy, I do have an unrelated question, but a related question. Good discussion, by the way. Which was better, Raw or Delirious?
Delirious writes for Ring of Honor, and Raw's been kind of suspect.
Well done. Can I say Richard Pryor was better than all of them?
You absolutely can, but George Carlin was better.
I would go with Stevie Wonder, but that's just me. So
it is the musical edition of the Pro Wrestling Report tonight. Good job, David Hero. That's
you're welcome.
About all you could do, though, right?
That's all I got. Yeah.
So where did we end up? Pass or fail on the segment? I know, Dave, you had your challenge with it.
Segment of the week.
Yeah.
Segment of the week.
I can't believe, Damien, that you don't want to debate, discuss, or even argue when Shane Helms says the Wu-Tang is the greatest entertainment group of all time, more than the Rat Pack.
You know, I've seen the signs. I've seen the symbol. I can't name a single one of their songs, though. I really couldn't. I can't. I'm sorry. I missed that phase. The Wu-Tang Clang, right? Clang?
Yeah.
Wu-Tang Clang. So here's my question. I mean, and this has been brought up out there, and quite frankly,
are you serious when you say clang?
Actually, I was. Wu-Tang Clang. Wu-Tang Clang. It rhymes. The Wu-Tang Clang.
That's a 15-yard penalty.
I went to suburban schools.
You got too much.
Let me share a comment. All right. So this came from the Save Me One on YouTube. Says Vince Russo at his worst would have never done something like that. My assumption.
Oh, absolutely not.
Why? Because it was amazing. Yeah, Vince Russo at his worst wouldn't have done something amazing. So that is a correct statement.
But let me say that. Go ahead, Dave.
Vince Russo made David Arquette the world champion.
Hey, that worked when it happened.
Did it though?
No, I was there. It did not work.
I'm talking the night of, not anything subsequent to it. And now, hey, he's a big indie star as a result of it. So, anyways, okay, very good.
I feel like if you go from WCW champion to indie star, that something didn't work.
That is true. So the question is this, and some people have made this point on social. Some people have made this point that AEW has touted themselves as the league that would treat wrestling as a sport. It wouldn't be sports entertainment. We wouldn't get these kind of, actually, they never said this, but the assumption based on those words was we would never get these kinds of cheesy segments, if you will. Do they run the risk of becoming more like their competition, WWE, if you will, by doing funny ha-ha stuff like this on their programming, Dave?
I think they have been doing funny ha-ha stuff on their programming. I mean, when you have the Young Bucks super kicking Tony Schiavone or Alex Marvez, and they come back the next week like everything's fine, you know, it's okay. They've done funny ha-ha stuff. The problem I said earlier, obviously, you know, you weren't paying attention there, Damian Nelson, is that when you have someone like Eddie Kingston go out there and cut a promo on Dean Moxley, and he says, hey, when you left to go to sports entertainment, you left me behind, you know, making fun of the whole sports entertainment thing. And then later in that show, you do something like that, there's a disconnect. It's like, what are you really trying to sell right now? And I think Chris Jericho has his own creative vision, and he pretty much can do whatever he wants, and he's earned it. And everything he's wanted to do, I think it's worked. But then you can't go back and say that you're all about wins and losses and you take professional wrestling seriously.
Shane?
I think anytime somebody jabs at sports entertainment, that's just a stupid thing. All sports are entertainment. That's why we watch them, because we're entertained by them. If you want to watch sports, Olympic freestyle wrestling, you can find that anywhere you want. When you're watching professional wrestling, and I don't care what 3 letters come with that company, you're watching sports entertainment. Bottom line. And I agree, the Eddie Kingston thing, calling out sports entertainment, just absolutely stupid. It's played out to even bring that argument to front. Hey, I'm gonna turn down a $500,000 contract a year to keep wrestling for $100.
The back
All
part
right.
of that.
Well, hold on. I have a bigger question. Which one of you two is stepping on that duck?
I certainly don't have any amphibious animals in my home.
Okay, just checking.
So a duck is amphibian?
It goes in the water, doesn't it?
Man,
Water
Damian
based,
Nelson,
water
you've
dwelling.
changed.
I
God
have
bless
changed. Let's move on.
This school you went to is very suspect.
Greenfield High School in Greenfield, Wisconsin. Yes.
Yeah, green.
So there was a dinner. There was Eddie Kingston, which it sounds like you guys talked about, right? I may have missed that part.
Yeah, okay, now start. The match Wardlow, Jungle Boy.
Oh, God.
That was kind of all over the place.
It went too long, I thought. Wardlow's supposed to be a monster, a beast. It shouldn't have taken him that long to mow through Jungle Boy.
From a mechanic and psychology point, that was a miss for me. I'm glad Wardlow went over. I like to see him advance. Jungle Boy's going to be fine. It didn't hurt him. But there was some psychological gaps in that game plan. And a couple of mechanical things I didn't know. I wasn't a fan.
This was one of the first of a couple of the matches that when I'm watching it, it's like, okay, he had a great match. Jungle Boy had a great match with Cody to elevate him to be something more, to be something special. And it didn't work with Wardlow because Wardlow obviously is, he's green. He hasn't had many matches on TV. I mean, even though he is 9-0, I guess, which I had no idea he had that many. But it seemed like Jungle Boy's strikes were bigger and more powerful than Wardlow's. And it just was a complete mismatch for me. I didn't get it. I don't understand why they would put Jungle Boy in that situation. I thought he was one of the young guys that they're trying to groom to get to that next level. And it was an uneventful match. I don't think that the business was good that Wardlow won, but this is also the first time when you have the Jurassic Express out there when the other guys don't do anything during the match. So it started out flat, and I'm like, ooh, this show is going to be flat.
Huh. Interesting. All right. And this was part of the championship eliminator tournament, which would dominate the night. And then we would move on from that match to see the next contest.
Wait, 1 second. Shane, did you think that Jungle Boy had any steam going into this tournament?
Not really, but he's that underdog baby face, so he was going to be in that role no matter what. And then again, we're still dealing with personnel issues going back months. So we're just still in a weird phase with that company. They might have not had a choice. I don't think there's a lot of bodies to choose from at the moment that they can trust not to go out and, get exposed in different areas. So,
right. I mean, I just wish they would have picked somebody that had some momentum, even if it would have been on Dark, so that when Wardlow wins, it means a little bit more than just beating a guy that hasn't been on TV in 3 or 4 weeks.
But, okay. I get what you're saying, but I don't know if they got a lot of people to choose from.
Yeah.
Well, to that point, Joey Janela was supposed to be in a matchup against Kenny Omega. He had been exposed to someone who had COVID-19. So Sonny Kiss steps in. Obviously, Kenny Omega gets the win in the tournament match there. But I think the real story of this match is the redefinition or reintroduction, if you will, of Kenny Omega. Entrance, dancers, presentation. He meant something in his delivery last night on Dynamite. And for me, Shane, that was very important, more so than what happened in the matchup.
Yeah, I thought that whole presentation of Kenny Omega was what we've been waiting for in AEW. We know we can have great matches. Those of us that are students of the game and followers of the business. That's what we wanted. He came out, that introduction, the very long introduction, Justin Roberts just spouting out fact after fact, throwing in there that he even wrestled in North Carolina once, which that popped the shit out of me for no reason whatsoever.
Well, wait, that's where you're from, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying just an odd thing to say.
Yeah.
He even wrestled in North Carolina once. Okay. But and then going out there and just dominating, 2 moves, Sonny Kiss done. Like, he just looked like a mega star in that short amount of time. And that's how you do it. I mean, that's promotion 101 right there.
And David, this is something you've been looking forward to with a Kenny Omega match for quite a while.
I've been looking forward to it with anybody to just go out there and beat somebody's ass. And when that entrance first started, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be long and brutal. And the match is going to go 10 to 15 minutes being competitive. And it's not going to mean anything. But the entrance, it was long and obnoxious. And it was perfect because of how the match went. It's like, boom, get out. You know what I mean? So I loved it. I loved the look on his face. I loved how he kept hugging Sonny Kiss. Like, hey, it's like, it was so condescending.
Yes.
And, Kenny Omega, that was star power right there. It was the best thing I have seen of Kenny Omega since he's been in AEW.
Wow, that's huge. I got to ask a question, though, because I missed this part, gentlemen. I was sort of watching AEW on fast forward after the fact last night.
Well, then you would have missed it completely.
That's it, sort of. Did Sonny Kiss get his traditional extended entrance, or did they scale that back to give more importance to Kenny Omega's entrance?
I don't know. What's his normal entrance?
If he got one, I don't recall it, so it must have been minimal.
Yeah, which is good. So in a tournament situation, Joey Janela is supposed to be the opponent in the match, replaced by Sonny Kiss. Does that show that the outcome was going to be the same regardless of the opponent?
Absolutely.
To it, yeah.
Yeah. If I'm Sonny Kiss, I'm pissed at Joey Janela right now.
Yeah.
I would be. I'd be like, God damn it, wear a mask. You know what I mean? But yeah, amazing.
Well, thank you to YouTube user Gabe606 who says he had entrance. That I assume that means Sonny Kiss. The question is, though, was it as long as normal? Because his entrances have been pretty extended in recent weeks.
It wasn't anything with the cheerleaders. Like, he had that cool entrance with the cheerleaders. I think when he went against Cody. No, this was much more scaled back. They put the emphasis on Kenny Omega.
The right emphasis on the right
side. So hold on a second. Once again, here's another example where Cody has had competitive matches with guys to elevate them, much like Jungle Boy. Now Sonny Kiss, and look what happens. So I get it, Shane. You and I have talked about it. There is obviously talent issues and who's available and who isn't. But it just you have to wonder, how can they keep doing this? Because it happened 1 or 2 more times throughout the show.
But Dave, I challenge you, and Shane, I'll let you answer. Go ahead.
No, what happened 1 or 2 other times in the show?
Well, I don't. Jumping ahead, you had Isaiah Cassidy, who had the big match with Chris Jericho.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Another guy.
This is just like I said with these personnel issues. There's going to be guys that get a little bit, you scale them back. You get a little bit, you scale them back, and some losses don't necessarily have to kill you. Sometimes for fans to get behind you, there's got to be something to get behind. If I pull for this guy a little bit harder, maybe he'll win. Anytime we get short matches, I always bring up Conor McGregor won the world championship in 13 seconds. Mm-hmm. Sonny Kiss losing to Kenny Omega like that ain't going to hurt him.
Oh, of course not.
Him or her, but he'll come back. There's plenty of ways to to come back, and who knows? This might lead to Sonny versus Kenny Omega down the road somewhere. They got a story. Hey, you just got to jump on me. It happens.
Dave, to that point, I want to ask you.
There's a disconnect there. I missed that.
You talk about people. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey,
people being put over, people being made, people being elevated, and then being sort of, I guess, taken down from that pedestal. In the Attitude Era, wins and losses didn't matter much, right? Because you had so many stars where you weren't damaged by losing matches. Is AEW in a similar situation?
The only people that say win losses didn't matter were people that won all the time. Remember that.
Fair enough. But I think you just said it, Shane.
People that, they one loss doesn't matter.
Okay,
that's what I said. One loss won't kill you. You can come back from anything. But if the fans start to perceive you as a jobber, if they lose faith in you because you lose so much, that's the kiss of death.
And with the Attitude Era, I think so many talents were over. It's and we can't even compare the two eras because it's not fair.
And I'm not doing that, but that's the closest equivalent I can find.
But let's not forget Bob and Crash Holly were the World Tag Team Champions and beat the Hardy Boys and Road Dogg and Billy.
And the problem with that was,
who would have thought that? Right now,
it happened, and it didn't hurt anybody.
But I'm saying okay. But here's the thing. Now, if we go to AEW, would Private Party or Dark Order beat Kenny Omega and Adam Page for the tag titles?
See, but the thing too that we forget about is during the Attitude Era and the years leading up to it, all of these stars, all of these gimmicks, all of these characters were built. They got wins over people. They got wins over lesser talent to get there. AEW just doesn't have the personnel right now. We just can't gauge them on that personnel. This is what we're dealing with. We got to, you got to deal with the pieces on the chessboard that you have. It would be great if Sonny Kiss could have gotten months of wins before this. We don't have the people. They don't have the people. Don't even have the TV time. You would see guys in WWE in the Attitude Era on Saturday morning still winning matches. You would see them on other shows, Sunday Night Heat, whatever, Velocity, winning matches and stuff like that. And then they go to Raw and SmackDown, and all these people getting built in that way. Just AEW is still a new company, and it's hard to get these years of longevity for a company that's only been out for a year.
Fair enough. Well, gentlemen, let's move on. Rey Fenix gets a win over Penta in another championship elimination matchup. David Hero.
10 stars as far as I'm concerned. That was Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio-esque. It was so good. And Shane and I even talked about this earlier. Unless you can do it like that, don't do it. Because they set the bar so high now for everybody else. Everyone else is not going to be nearly as good. I mean, they were so smooth. There was no stutter steps. There was no hesitation. It just flowed, and it may have been one of the best matches I've seen in a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Well, Rey Fenix goes on to face Kenny Omega in the semifinals. A lot of people salivating over that match. Shane, what did you think of the match last night, and what's to come?
It was good. I mean, it was super, super good. There was a really moment that bothered me when Rey Fenix got hurt, and it's like even the commentators like, "Oh, he really got hurt." It's like as opposed to all the other times when you guys are trying to sell that guys are hurt. That bothered me. But he got his bearings back. That finish was absolutely a destroyer wins the match. Holy shit! That right there, it should have been a headline in and of itself. But they are fantastic. Rey Fenix, and I've seen Rey Fenix and Kenny Omega work before. They are going to tear it down if given the proper time. Rey Fenix, and like Dave was saying, both of those guys there's the two best high flyers in the world. Rey Fenix is the best high flyer in the world. And Penta is a great base. I mean, you got to understand that finishing sequence was Penta. Penta's the one that made that shit happen. Without him, it doesn't happen. It was just so fantastically well done. They tore it down. I wish there was an audience there for that match. They would have just been going bananas. There
wasn't a limited audience there, but you can't. You're right. You can't hear
the talking about. You got 10,000 people in there. They're going to be ripping their shirts off like Hogan by the end of that match,
brother.
And you know what? That was the match also where you can tell each other trusted and believed in each other to be there for everything.
And it's the first chop exchange that I saw make sense. Like, because Kingston put it over. It's like, oh, this is a pissing contest. Because you see guys doing those chops, and there's always like, hey, if you could punch the guy in the face, why would you just punch him in the face?
Exactly.
But Eddie putting it over on commentary, and Eddie was really good on commentary, putting it over as a pissing contest, even with Penta taking off his glove, like, okay, I'm gonna get you now. You know, that's been like the best explanation of that chop exchange that I've seen.
Well, from there we would see Colt Cabana, classic Colt Cabana. Is he still classic?
I don't know.
He's boom boom.
Well, he would suffer a loss rather to Hangman Adam Page. Dave, your thoughts on that match? Shane, how about you?
I thought Colt looked good. I thought Colt looked really good. This might have been one of the best Colt matches in AEW. I thought he looked really good.
But
I don't like Adam Page's gear. I don't know. For some reason, that's one of these teeny tiny things. Like, I'm just looking at his gear going, I don't like this shit. But good match. You know, nothing I disliked about it. I thought Colt looked good. The promo before the match with the Dark Order, I thought was goofy as shit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sold on their promo skills at all. And listen, the only way you can get better at them is to do them. I understand that as well. But at the same time, you know, this is a live show. You're going head to head with NXT. You know, we need to hit it out of the park every single time. But I was a fan of this match.
you know what? For me, I like Colt Cabana. I like Adam Page. But you know me, my big thing is sense of urgency. And I just thought Cabana had a little bit too much funny haha in a match that could possibly get him a world title shot.
Yeah, he struggles going in and out of the comedy. You know, there were times, you know, if you go back and watch me and The Rock, I would do that comedy in the beginning. Well, once it got serious, and I just mentioned that match because everybody knows him. Once we get serious, now we got to go. You know, I always front loaded my comedy. Once you punch me in the face, okay, well, this shit ain't funny no more. Now I'm going to punch you back. Now we got to fight. And that's why I gave my character such longevity. It's like, all right, he'll play around to a degree, but once it gets serious, we got to go.
And I don't think the Dark Order knows even who or what they are, because when they did that promo in the beginning, when that little guy, I don't know what his name is, was like sitting there. Well, he was. He's like, what, 5-something? He's sitting out there.
They had a great presence, though.
Yeah. But it's like, if you're the heel, that was more funny, haha.
But they were without their leader last night, right? No Brody Lee, right?
They're not even trying to be heels, so maybe that's the directive. So I don't know. I don't know what they're getting from creative. I don't know what they're getting from an agent or producer. But if they think they're heels, now that's a problem. If they think they're being heels, that's a problem, because they are failing if they think they're being heels. If they're trying to be tweeners, if they're trying to be skate that line and be funny high heels, okay, maybe. But they need to recognize that they're not heels, because nothing they do elicits a negative response, especially in the tag match. Jumping ahead, like my Silver, the shorter guy, he just blew this babyface comeback, Shades of Cesaro, which had one of the greatest. I'm sure it was either an homage or a direct ripoff, either one, same shit. I mean, he was just trying to be full-fledged babyface. It was just, as long as they understand that's who they are.
Are we talking about number 3 or number 4? Alex Reynolds or John Silver? Do we know?
John Silver is the shorter of the two. Alex Reynolds is the long-haired guy that got knocked out.
But here's the thing.
Silver just blew a total babyface comeback. He's like, fuck it. I mean, I just couldn't imagine. I just couldn't imagine somebody that really thought they were a heel doing that. Like, unless you just completely don't fucking get it.
And when your leader is the evil, dastardly Brody Lee, he should be beating their asses when they go in the back. They should have to pay and be punished for losing and doing stupid stuff.
Now, if they did that would be entertaining. If they think, like, if that's the story, if he's like, what are y'all doing? He just slaps the hell out of them. Yeah. And they go out there and they put on their best effort, but they're just not evil. Yeah. They're not evil. He's trying to convert them. Okay, I get that. But especially in that tag match, I'm like, is there any heat in this at all? None.
Nope. None.
You got 8 people out there and nobody can get heat.
Well, gentlemen, in the interest of time, we do need to move forward. We're 41 minutes into the show, and I do want to talk about Dr. Britt Baker getting that big win over Kylie King. It was a good match as well. And
Britt Baker knows how to be a heel.
Without a doubt, she knows how to be a heel.
She can be entertaining when she needs to be, but she can also do things to make you not like her. It's not that difficult. Well, it shouldn't be.
Well, folks, this is the Pro Wrestling Report. We are live. This is prime time. We're joined by Shane Helms and David Hero. I'm Damian Nelson here for the Pro Wrestling Report studios. And we're talking about AEW Dynamite, which got the ratings win last night in the so-called ratings war. We've gotten through most of the show, and the last match to talk about is the main event. It was that tag team match that both of you have referenced as we've discussed tonight. It was a fatal four-way. The Young Bucks come away with the victory and that matchup, which was, I thought, very well done, actually, and well performed by all. There were a lot of those waiting spots and a lot of those, well, wait a minute, why don't you just get up and move kind of thing. But overall, for what I have been conditioned to expect out of these matches, it was good, and the Young Bucks were victorious. David Hero.
Yeah, I guess that was the business they wanted to do, was to give the Young Bucks that match to make them number one contenders to FTR. It makes sense because didn't FTR already beat the three other tag teams in the match?
Yeah, but I think that makes the story that much better because FTR ended the night on top to close out Dynamite, Shane.
You know what? Who would have thought Tully Blanchard, though, was still that agile and athletic?
Here was the problem, though. Did anybody in the viewing world not know that was Tully Blanchard while the announcers were trying to sell us that they didn't know who it was?
That was the weird thing about why it took him so long to take off the mask. Like he came in, he did the hit, boom. Go ahead and take off the mask. Like I'm assuming you're joking because everybody knew it was Tully. Go ahead. The longer he kept on the mask, I was like, who are they trying to fool with this shit?
Yeah.
It was like the Midnight Rider. Like we know who you are.
You know what? I really think 70-year-old Tully Blanchard's going to go to the second rope and jump off of it?
I don't know that he's 70, but the colorful shoes is what threw it off because Tully always.
Keep in mind, he retired a long time ago. He's been healthy. He's not been bumping for 20 years.
That's a good point.
I had a longer bumping career than Tully did.
You didn't bump. You never bumped. You never bumped.
True. But the match was okay. It was action, like I said. It was a get your shit in match, which these matches they tend to go in that direction. I would have just liked to have seen somebody be a heel. Somebody try to get the. I feel like the Butcher and the Blade try. I feel like they tried a little bit more than anybody else did, but it's just hard in that scenario when it's like, hey, I got to get in. Let me do some shit, and then I come in and I do 5 moves, and you do 5 moves, and we tag out, and he's got this. He's going to do only 3 moves, but this one's going to do 4. It's just
there was a true heel in the match, and that was the referee for not trying to get the dead guy out of the ring earlier.
I'm not sure he noticed. That shit happened as quick. We can go back and watch it, but I was watching when it happened. And me and Dave talked about this briefly. That move that what was his name took, one of the Dark Order. I've taken that move from Matt and Jeff. It's rough. You got a guy landing on your belly, a guy landing on your face. If it's not perfectly timed, which a lot of times it wasn't, if you get hit in your stomach, your natural reaction is that your head comes up, and then your head comes up and you get smashed by this guy. That's a very easy move to fuck somebody up, for lack of a technical term. To fuck somebody up. He was in another dimension. He was in a fucking nether realm. My dude from Mortal Kombat popped up and said, Toasty! And and Pepper Parks, I'm assuming like that was the spot he was going to drag him out anyway. So my dude's doing a dead cell. Pepper might not have ever even known. Hey, I'll drag you to the corner and tag you in. He might have never even known. Dude's laying there. I did that spot. I did that spot where I had somebody drag me to the corner, and I don't help them because I hate when somebody's getting drugged and you can see the guy that's being drugged helping them. I hate that shit. If you're going to drag me, you're going to have to drag me. After that part, it was uncomfortable. I'm sure that somebody in the back should have been giving the referee, "I'll be done in a second, Dave. Don't be trying to go." It'll get there. But that was when it was uncomfortable, when he was just laying there. But a lot of other those bodies in that match never saw that happen. Go back and watch them. They're not watching this. They're not watching what happened. Some of them weren't even in the ring. When he came back in and tried to make an effort to continue going, and he didn't, he had them spaghetti legs. Okay, now we got to get this fucker out of here. I will always agree, you give him a chance to continue. If he can't continue, get him the fuck out. They got him the fuck out. Hey, guess what? Like I said before, Pro wrestling is fucking dangerous and shit happens. He got his bell rung. He ended up he walked out of the building. He's okay. It was scary. This shit isn't safe.
Shane, let me ask you a question, because that's a very interesting point you brought up. One I had never thought of actually is, and I don't mean this negatively, but wrestling can become a bit routine, right? If you're a performer in the ring, if you're a wrestler in the ring, where, as you said, when you have someone coming down, landing on your stomach, your head pops up. Mm-hmm. When you deviate from that, it's easy, it would seem, for your brain to not make that connection because your reflex is used to a certain reaction to a certain move. How do you condition yourself to be able to adjust to that?
See, on that particular move, you just get fucking squished. That's why I hated it. Because when somebody's doing a splash, you kind of want to brace up, you know, and with experience, you'll learn, let me sit up into this a little bit and it won't be as bad. I learned that from Jimmy Snuka. I was a young guy in the business. I'm taking this Superfly splash. I'm sitting there watching him climb the rope. I think this is the coolest fucking thing ever. Oh, this is Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I can't believe this. And I'm just watching him and I'm laying there flat and he landed on me and fire shot at my ass. He squished me so bad because I didn't know how to sit up and brace myself a little bit. Well, if you got somebody that's going to land on your head at the same time, you don't even have that option anymore. You just got to hope, beyond hope, that these two guys have it together. 9 times out of 10, Private Party probably would have nailed that perfectly. But that 1 time out of 10 can send you to the fucking hospital. So, I mean, that's a dangerous move. That is a very dangerous move. It's way more dangerous than it looks, those are the moves I don't like. Like if it's something that can send me to the hospital, I want it to look like the vertebrae. I don't want it to look like just this regular old tag team move. It doesn't even look that special, and it can really take you out. And obviously it did.
Fair enough. Thank you for that detailed explanation. And
what was Dave going to see? Because I cut Dave pretty short there.
No. I asked you though, as a wrestler, what that was like, because we're 47 minutes and 44 seconds in, and we're supposed to only go an hour with this show, and we still have to talk about NXT.
Who said we were going an hour? What happened?
I forgot to mention that to you earlier in a text message.
Of course you did. So hold on a second. My issue with that injury was that it wasn't that long ago that Matt Hardy was concussed and no one did anything to stop it. So you'd think that their protocol would be a little bit different, especially when you have 7 other guys in the ring that should know what the A, B, C, D, E, F, and G of the match is supposed to be. And especially if there's an agent and producer in the back with a headset on that knows exactly how that match is supposed to go and sees the guy there laying in the middle of the ring. For me, I get it. Wrestling is not ballet, and people do get hurt. But, man, I was just shocked that nobody did absolutely anything, even if it was supposed to be a dead cell.
They got him out. They gave him a chance to come back. You got to give the guy a fucking chance to come back. They gave him a chance. He was fucked up. They got him out of the match. I don't think he was supposed to lay on the floor for the next 7 minutes of that match.
Right.
I'm sure he had something to do. They gave him a chance. He's fucked up. Okay, he's done.
But now, Shane, you have been doing this for a long time, and if you are in that match and that guy is that loopy, do you then go and give him a knee to the head and then a bulldog out of the corner?
If you don't know what this guy happened, are you sure that young buck even knew? He's coming in on the hot tag. He don't know. He didn't see it. You don't know if this guy's selling. You have to assume that this person is selling. He gave him a chance. And okay, this shit's kind of fucked up. How did he even know how the bulldog looked like? You're going to get through the match. That's what we do. We can't just stop the show every time somebody gets dinged. That's not what we do.
Oh, and for me, I'm not saying stop the show.
No, not you, but I'm just saying, just this whole thing, we got to find these better ways. This shit's dangerous. This shit is fucking, this is what we do. We sign up for this. You know, if you take all the danger out of it, then let's just go wrestle on a trampoline.
But you'd also have to change Austin Powers' name because his middle name is Austin Danger Powers.
I think wrestling on a trampoline is way more dangerous than being in a ring.
Especially if you take a ball shot on that damn rail.
Hey, Shane, Dave, are you guys looking forward to what is going to be a very big day tomorrow on Amazon Prime? It is the subsequent movie film of Borat.
Oh, yeah. Your boy Rudy. Your boy Rudy.
Oh, I can't wait. Rudy is.
Hey, he was just stretching and tucking his shirt in.
You know what? If Borat takes down Rudy Giuliani, then it's worth it right there.
Did you see my tweet to Rudy? Because you know I don't care.
I missed that actually, Shane.
Listen, I was the first wrestler on Twitter. I'll be the last one on that shit when everybody else does. Yeah, because he was saying it was a tuck, and I was like, "Your bloated ass has to lay down and tuck in your shirt." So, come on, man. Also, you married your cousin.
Oh my, here we go, folks. All right, so Borat, the subsequent movie film, tomorrow on Amazon Prime.
Did you know he married his cousin? I'm just, just throwing it.
I read about that somewhere.
Yeah, they said it was accidentally.
Aren't all Italians related?
Accidentally.
Somehow? They're all family, right? Aren't all Italians family anyways?
Gentlemen, I think in our conversation tonight, we've already gotten your overall thoughts on AEW Dynamite last night. I love how we are now pressed for time to talk about NXT, and we will do so. But I do want to give my final thought on AEW Dynamite. A bit wrestling heavy last night, actually, in my opinion. The good, though, about that was the break in the middle of Jericho and MJF. And I don't want to fail in mentioning how amazingly tremendous that was, not just because they paid homage to the Rat Pack, but not only did they do Me and My Shadow, but the little part at the end, which I don't know if both of you are familiar with, the little part at the end where Sammy would normally ask Dean or Frank, "Hey, can we do that once again?" "What do you mean once again? From where? From the top or the bottom?" "From the end, actually." It's Rat Pack, classic Rat Pack, and it for me as a Rat Pack fan. And again, I'll investigate this Wu-Tang Clan and see if maybe I like them too. But it was magically perfect from two perfect performers. And Dave, you may have made this point earlier, but I want to hear it again if you didn't make it on this show. And that is that MJF was put on another level last night on Dynamite.
Yeah. He became a bigger star because of the fact that he wasn't doing the Milli Vanilli. He actually, that was him singing. And it just like, damn, he can do it all.
Yeah, Dynamite last night, listen, it wasn't a perfect show, but they had this segment, one of my favorite segments in recent memory. They had a match of the year candidate with Rey Fenix and Penta. Britt Baker coming back, putting on a fantastic performance. There was a lot of really good stuff last night. A lot of really good stuff. And I'm not familiar with the Rat Pack, but I do know that the Wu-Tang Clan is fabulous.
Wait a minute, you're gonna pick on me for not knowing the Wu-Tang Clan. You don't know the Rat Pack?
Yeah, the Rat Pack. I don't know anything about the Rat Packers. I know the names, but I'm not a student of the Rat Packers. But I'll investigate them.
Sinatra.
Listen, you're a much bigger fan of the Rat Packers than I am.
Hold on, I get a kick out of Damien complaining about lack of time, and now we're stuck on this.
Listen, Damien wants to talk about Rat Packers. I need to learn, so I'm a student here.
My mic was muted when you were making your statement. Now it's my turn to speak. I get a rebuttal. The moderator's giving me a rebuttal. Please tell me. You asked if I were joking about the Clang, and I was not. Please tell me you're joking about the Rat Pack.
No, yeah, I know Tank Sinatra, Sammy Hagar Jr. Yeah, I know all about those guys.
Do you know the connection to getting Kennedy elected was part of the Rat Pack, as Peter Frampton, who was married to, I can't remember which Kennedy.
Mary Jane Watson.
Blige?
Whoa, hold on a second. I can't believe Richie Valens was later invited in that group.
I thought you both were good men, and I hereby realize
you shouldn't think that.
I hereby realize now at 7:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fight TV Live that I have a bit of reevaluating to do as to the stars presented.
Oh, why don't you like Richie Valens?
The nature of our association.
He had one of the biggest songs of all time.
Was it?
I got a Bamba.
Huh?
La Bamba.
Yeah, but what was the other one?
Boy,
Ghana.
I want to take this opportunity to talk about the amazing gear that you both are wearing, but more vividly than Dave is Shane's tremendous collar and elbow brand shirt. Of course, collar and elbow, one of the tremendous partners that make this show possible. Shane, show us, is that who's that paying homage to, the design of that shirt?
I'm guessing Dolph Ziggler.
Right? DZ.
I'm guessing. That's what I think of when I see it. So it's a collar and elbow brand. PrimeTimeWrestlingTalk.com. Promo code PWR360 gets you a discount all across the shirts. This is a little bit more one of the more louder shirts than Colin Elbow Brand do. They're more of a casual type wrestling fan shirt, which is what I love about them. So it's not like Hulkamania in your face, but it's a I love pro wrestling shirt company, and I wear Colin Elbow Brand just about every day.
And David, why don't you tell us about your shirt that you're?
You said that my shirt wasn't that special, but mine is, because it's the Collar and Elbow X-Files, and the brand new winter styles have been dropped. Like Shane said, collarandelbowbrand.com, PWR 360. Get that animal shirt. Get the Shad Gaspard shirt. Awesome stuff. A bunch of stuff on clearance now as well, and the discount code still applies. PWR 360.
Very good, guys. And with that, I want to also talk about our other tremendous partner, the one who makes you more presentable to that who you love or who you're just spending a few minutes with during your lunch break. And that would be Manscaped. Dave, tell us all about it.
You know, if you want to be silky smooth, if you want to make sure that everything is smelling right, go to manscaped.com. Use promo code just PWR, because you won't need a 360 for that one, and save 20% and get free shipping at manscaped.com.
He's talking about balls, y'all. That's what he's talking about. Shave your balls. Nobody wants hairy, stinky balls in 2020. Especially if you're a member of the Rat Packers. You don't want hairy, stinky balls in 2020.
Shane,
what happened?
This hurts me.
It can't hurt you no more than the Wu-Tang Clang hurts me.
Wait, what does the Clang stand for anyhow, Damien?
I thought that was
what's clanging?
No, I Wu-Tang Clang. I thought it all rhymed. I'm sorry it didn't. I've got other obligations here, and I want to move on to talk about NXT. 57 minutes and 48 seconds into the program, and the first matchup was Kushida versus Tommaso Ciampa, Milwaukee's very own, versus
versus Velvet Dream.
Velvet Team. That's a whole different scenario. Please go right ahead.
It's in a three-way. You know what? I thought it was a very physical match. I thought that, there's a good flow to it. Kushida is on fire. There's no way he's not being groomed for that top spot in NXT to be the NXT World Heavyweight Champion. Dream just seems to be losing more and more steam every week. I think that Ciampa right now is the grizzled vet that is there to help the younger guys or the newer guys get more over and established. But I thought it was a great way to open the show. I think it was the strongest opening match NXT has had in quite a while.
Shane, how about you?
Very physical. The mechanics were great. I love that Ciampa's considered this vet when he's really only been around for a few years. But he's got
much longer than a few years. I mean, he was.
Yeah, but it's really been like NXT. He had a very short run in Ring of Honor. He was in TNA for like 2 nights, and then he went to NXT, and that's kind of been his home. But like when I hear veteran, I'm thinking 20 years, 25 years, not just a couple. But he's good. Listen, I'm not saying he's not good. That's just an interesting little fact, because a lot of people say that he's this vet, and that's more of a testament to his talent, how quickly he rose.
I did say grizzled vet, so that's different. Yeah.
And he does look, he's got the gray beard. He could use a little just for men. Maybe he touched that up a little bit. We might not consider him as grizzled. His mechanics are some of the best in the business. You can't understate that. Velveteen Dream is one of the best natural sellers in the business. Sometimes he goes a little over the top with the flip flop, but as far as natural selling, he's fantastic. Kushida, I figured he was going to win the match, and he did, but it was good. It was entertaining. I wasn't that interested in it because, like I said, I felt like Kushida was going to win. I thought that was pretty obvious. So that took away a tiny bit of the interest, but it was still the mechanics of the match really held me in.
Fair enough. And Dave, I'm going to save you from yourself and not ask you to speak more about that matchup. But the next matchup was Ember Moon getting a big win over Jessie
on a mission.
from
Go
God.
ahead.
Hero?
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Ember Moon wins over Jessie Camille.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's another great match for Ember Moon that's trying to get reestablished on the NXT brand. I mean, she really didn't beat anybody of anything. And yeah, there is no question that, she is on a mission right now to become the NXT Women's Champion.
A mission from God, as in the Blues Brothers, which Shane, I assume you're also not familiar with.
Oh, very familiar with Frank Aykroyd. I was very confused about Ember's character here. Like, am I supposed to like her? Am I supposed to dislike her? In that match, she was kind of all over the place. She was a bully at times, but then she wanted to be liked. And then she came out and she got attacked at the end. And so I'm like, okay, so am I supposed to feel sympathy for her now? So that was pretty confusing. But I mean, she's talented, and her opponent, though young, is also talented. So I mean, that was good business. Nothing spectacular, but it was good. And I do like Ember Moon's new finish. That was interesting.
All right, thank you for that. Next matchup was the Auxilla getting a win over the prodigy known as Austin Theory. But after this matchup, David Hero, Austin Theory would walk out of NXT and say that he is done with WWE. What's your take?
Well, it makes sense because last week I said he keeps losing, he's not winning. I just didn't think he'd be the brat that would take his ball and go home, because eventually he's got to come back. He looks like $1 million, definite star power, but man, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, how they're going to bring him back, what they do with him. He's already been up on the main roster. They sent him back down. He's not winning in NXT. I as a guy that puts together shows and writes shows and everything else, I have no clue where to go next with Austin Theory.
How about you, Shane?
Losing streaks traditionally have very shitty payoffs. So I'm not sure where they're going with this. Like, I don't know how you watch Austin Theory and don't see a ton of potential there. I do. I think Dave agrees that it's there. So I'm hoping that there's something in the works here. I'm just not sure what it is. And just historically, seeing so many losing streaks just fizzle out when the guy finally gets the win. Like, okay, you finally get a win. Now what? You lost for 8 months. Now you get one win and everything's okay. It's never okay in that regard. So I don't know where they're going, and I'm not sure what to do with him. Maybe he's going to come and join Pat McAfee's new version of the Undisputed Era. Who knows?
Well, to that point, gentlemen, and I want to talk about Pat McAfee for sure, because I think there's a bit of a disconnect so far. But the next matchup was, I believe it was Legado del Fantasma, Dave. Remember? Listen to that. Legado del Fantasma getting a win over the team of Isaiah Serve Scott, Adonis, and Atlas, that being pinfall. Your thoughts on that matchup, David?
I love the team Fantasma. I think they do a great job. Joaquin Phoenix. Is it Joaquin Phoenix?
No, that's Joaquin Wild.
Joaquin Wild.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Wildy.
Joaquin.
Okay.
Joaquin Wild. I don't know.
Joaquin.
You know what? It's for me.
Can we call him DJ Wild?
Yes, let's do that. I love watching the growth of DJ Wild. I think he's fantastic. The finish to me was very kabuki-ish. Didn't make any sense. You threw three guys together that, yes, I understand they have a history with the Phantasma Party, but at the end of the day, it was bad business. Was that finish?
Shane?
For me, it was only bad business. I felt like Jake Atlas buried himself. He does this DDT on the floor, and then he's just talking shit while his partner gets his head kicked off.
Yeah.
Like, to me, he just looked like an asshole. Like, you have two options there. You could sell the DDT on the floor because guess what? You took a bump on the floor too. So that could have been common sense. Or you could have just stayed on the guy, stayed on him, because you got your story with him so that you don't really notice it. But if you're just, cutting a promo, hey, I'm going to be the next champion while your partner's getting his head kicked off, I thought he looked like an asshole. And then I really didn't care that they lost. That, to me, that took away all the sympathy. And two, this was a match while it had a lot of athleticism, it was also a just get your shit in match. Everybody get their shit in. Everybody looked good. you know, my man Escobar has the potential to be the best heel in NXT. But when you put him in these get your shit in matches and everybody's trying to be flashy, then we lose a little bit of that. So from an athletic standpoint, it was fine. From a character standpoint, it took a little bit away from Escobar as a heel. It took a little bit away from Atlas as the babyface. So it's kind of just 50-50 for me. I think it did some good, but I think it did some bad too.
I am waiting for someone just to move out of the way on a dive. I'm begging because that's so telegraphed.
Well, they didn't fucking catch him anyway. They didn't catch. If you talk about the Swerve City dive, they didn't catch him, and then he just jumps up like everything's fine. Like that's one of those things that just I don't know how you are a producer and you don't go berserk when they come back. I don't know. And
do you think that? Okay, and you've been in that role. And I'm sure you've gone berserk, but do you think at the end of the day they listen?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're even being told.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just, dives and forearms, please. Someone think of something new. Everyone's throwing forearms now.
Listen, I mean, it's called suicide dive because it's supposed to hurt you as well. If you just jump up like nothing fucking happened, then you take away the whole effect of it. If at the end of the match, you look in the exact same condition as the beginning of the match, then nothing fucking happened. And that was one of the things with Jungle Boy and Warlord, not to jump back to a different show. There was some parts at the end of that match where Jungle Boy looked completely fine, as if he wasn't getting fucked up by this other human being. That's
twice his size.
That could murder him.
Yeah.
You know, that type of selling and storytelling, I think it's just we're really doing ourselves a disservice. You're supposed to be banged up at the end of this. It's not like you see MMA fighters and at the end of that 25 minutes, they're just completely fine, unless they dominate. If they dominate, yeah, they're fine. But if you see them beating the shit out of each other, that's what makes a compelling story.
Again, selling. It can make a match 100 times better.
Yep.
Well,
Damien's selling right now. Damien's selling this time restraints we're under.
The next match, and I won't even talk about the match. I'll just throw it to you, David Hero, to spin us as to what happened to Drake Maverick on NXT last night.
Drake Maverick got some backbone, and he finally enough was enough, and it was a time for a change for him. And does anybody throw a better chair right now than Drake Maverick? Because he was lighting people up, and he was hitting flat and hard, and it looked great. And it's cool to see him and Damian Kane, right? Dillian Kane, I don't know.
Killian Dane, that's it. Finally had that moment. It's like that big brother moment of approval. But I wasn't a big fan of the match at all, but to finally see Drake Maverick show some spine and just finally want to fight, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I loved it. I love the interaction between those guys. Drake Maverick, his character, he does his character. That's the guy that understands who he is. And I've talked about this ad nauseum on the show. Understanding and realizing who you are is as important as any element in this business. Drake knows who he is. He knows his strengths. He has great facials. And the thing about him throwing a chair, you can't complain. He's the smallest guy in the locker room. Yep. You can't complain when the smallest guy in the locker room stiffs you. You just got to take that shit. Even though it could hurt, and you got a steel chair in your hand, he's capable of hurting somebody. But I thought that was really well done, and I love that. I love that he didn't do the dance at the end. Take it slow. Take it slow.
When was the last time we saw somebody throw chairs that solid before?
It's been a while.
Yeah, where they were each one hit perfect. It wasn't off on an angle. They had good sound. It was believable.
And I don't know if we skipped over something here. Have we talked about, has the Johnny Gargano promo happened? Yeah, I feel like it already happened. And for me, that was the promo of the week.
It may have been right before where he was decided to spin the wheel, make the deal.
When he spun that wheel, I was like, how bad could it be? And it landed on fucking Buried Alive, and it came back to that face. Mm-hmm. That was the legit pop. I legit laughed in my damn house. Had to hit that rewind and check it out again. That shit was hysterical. And then he's like, what are the odds? 1 in a million? And Candace goes, 1 in 12. That was fucking, and I've been on the fence about how entertaining those segments are, and he's supposed to be the heel, but that one, you know, the musical was the segment of the week. Match of the week was actually on Impact, but for promo of the week, that Johnny Gargano promo did it for me.
Well, gentlemen, fair enough. Want to move on to the next matchup, which was Casey Catanzaro. Remember, Dave, get that right. Catanzaro getting
We're going to call it KC.
Getting a win over GLE. KC of Jodeci?
Yeah, that's her. That one. Yes.
Thoughts on this female match on NXT?
I'm not going to lie. I may or may have not have been watching AEW at the time, and I skipped most of it simply because it just seemed like a cold match to me. There wasn't a whole lot to go into it. I don't have anything to say about it.
Fair enough.
I watched this. I like both of those girls. I worked with both of them in NXT as a coach, and I see potential for both of them. I like that they got a slow storyline developing with Lee. I love her entrance. She's there's a character which, of course, they're playing off in Street Fighter that, you know, with the dress that she's doing and the fans and all of that. I love that entrance, and I'm interested to see where this is going. But the story was Gonzalez coming in at the end, Raquel Gonzalez, and she looks great. This is somebody that's putting in the work. She's working in the gym. She looks fantastic, and she looks like a monster. I mean, 6 months ago, was she even in the picture? A year ago, I don't think she was even on the dartboard.
3 months ago.
And she looks amazing. And I can appreciate that because I see on social media all the time these talents talk about how they're busting their ass. And I look at them, and they don't look like they're busting their ass. I see their work. It don't look that impressive. So I'm always confused about where it is they're busting their ass. She's in the gym. She's working hard. You can see the results, and I respect that.
Fair enough.
Damien, how do you feel?
You know what? I thought I agree with both of you on that matchup.
Out of what?
A Thatch can match. And actually, Thatcher, of course, winning that matchup, that being Timothy Thatcher versus Anthony Green. Dave, were you out of commercial break by the time this match occurred?
I didn't know. No.
Green,
I cannot believe that they actually made a gimmick background for this. Like, they are that committed to getting this guy in that segment over where they actually put it up on the screens.
But this is the something for everybody segment. This is the opposite end of the spectrum for the musical. We got the musical on one side, and you got this segment on the other.
Yeah.
This is pure wrestling. This is like, if you're an MMA guy or an amateur wrestling type fan, this is your wheelhouse, watching this technical stuff. So I get why they're doing it. You got to have stuff like that. I liked it. Was it the most exciting thing I've ever seen in my life? No. Was it as entertaining as the musical? It's not even in the same stratosphere. But I still liked it because it's something for everybody. It's different. It stands out because it's different.
Well, gentlemen, the next contest, the main event, if you will, on NXT last night, actually saw a championship change hands as we have brand new NXT Tag Team Champions. It would be the team of Lauren and Birch. Not Cameron Birch. I almost thought Cameron Grimes winning that matchup and defeating Brazingo in a surprising way and becoming the new NXT Tag Team Champions. A good way to end the show. And I think one of the reasons many people are saying that NXT was the better of the two offerings last night. Shane, what do you say about it?
I'm glad that something impactful happened. Now, this storyline just threaded throughout the show of members of the Undisputed Era getting taken out. That wasn't well done because you do this establishing promo of these guys together, and then the next shot you see one of them taken out. Well, if you're going to establish them together, and then on the next one of them's taken out, a logical question is, where were these other two motherfuckers? And then the next shot after that, one of the other one is taken out. If you saw your buddy get taken out, you're not going to keep your eye on your other buddy? There was some big gaping holes in logic in that terms. But what I liked was the reasoning for my man going, hey, let these guys have the match. You know, I need to go be with my boys. That part was fine. When we have the match, that was fine. I had no idea this Swerve was coming, so I love that. I love being Swerve. I love getting taken back to that feeling of a kid and not knowing what's happening. To the point where when the push happened, with the way Pat McAfee was built, I thought it was Josh Barnett. Pat McAfee wasn't even in my wheelhouse. It wasn't even in my brain. And because of Raw Underground, and I guess Josh is my friend and I follow him on Twitter and he's making comments about Raw Underground here and there. And then I see the guy with them big quads come in. I was like, man, that could be Josh. And I got super excited. And then it was Pat McAfee. And I was like, fuck, it's Pat McAfee. But that was the right reaction because you want that negative reaction for a heel reveal. You know, you're not supposed to be excited for a heel reveal. You're supposed to dislike it. And so I thought that was super well done. There's people that are going to hate it. You know what? Good. You're supposed to.
Fair enough, David.
I thought it was a great way to get a ton of heat on Pat McAfee and the new NXT World Tag Team Champions because it was supposed to be the night for Undisputed Era to regain the NXT tag titles. They didn't. They were conniving, or Pat McAfee and his guys were conniving in the way to get them out of the match and then steal the tag titles, the belts that Undisputed Era wanted for the reveal. I'm like, you know what? That was fantastic. That's almost something you would have expected to have seen in the main event of a pay-per-view to make you want to tune in to watch Raw or SmackDown that next night. Good for Pat McAfee. I mean, they played that one close to the vest, and you weren't expecting to see him back. We all thought his match at, the SummerSlam takeover was going to be a one and done, and apparently not. And he's going to be a great heel character on that show going forward.
Especially for those guys. Especially for those guys. Let them do the work. Let him be the mouthpiece. Because Lorque One, he's great in the ring. He's Thatcher, but with a little bit more charisma and presence. Mm-hmm. And Birch is fantastic as well. This is going to be a great – it's almost like Arn and Tully, but with Jim Cornette instead of JJ.
Yeah, agreed.
And so I'm interested to see where this goes.
So my question is this, and I think those are valid points by both of you. My question is this, though. Have they done enough to tell me, the casual wrestling fan, why I should care about Pat McAfee? Who is he?
Yeah.
Where did he come from?
Well, stop right there. If you're a casual wrestling fan, you're not watching NXT. Just saying. You're not. You're watching Raw or SmackDown.
Well, fair enough. Okay, if I'm a wrestling fan who doesn't know who Pat McAfee is, have they given me enough reason to invest in his character or his persona, whoever he may be?
If you're an NXT fan at this point, you should know who he is. You might not be as heavily invested if it was, I don't know, John Cena put off the mask or something like that. Of course not. But it's a new character. I think he can get heat. I think fans are going to hate him. Imagine that. Imagine actually getting heat in this business in 2020. That'd be a shocking turn of events. So I'm interested to see where it goes. I know Pat McAfee can talk his ass off. And I think that's what those other two guys need, and I think this is going to be good.
And it's a great crossover because the Pat McAfee show gets a lot of views and a lot of listens. Mm-hmm. It's going to introduce more people to the product.
Speaking of views and listens, you can catch this show in podcast form. And that's where you listen to your podcast. Just search for Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, PWR Primetime, and you can take us with you on the go, whether that be to the gym, to the beach, to the lake, to work.
The bistro.
Whatever. I'm sorry?
The bistro.
There too. You can search for us, and you can also listen to the weekly or regularly, somewhat weekly, Hurricane to Helms podcast.
Highway to Helms.
Highway to Helms.
But actually, just throwing that out there for the Wu-Tang Clan. Highway to Helms. Check it out. They love me there. But, I don't know how much time we got left, but I know, Jamie, and you don't like to talk about Impact. I know you're always putting it on the back burner.
No. Let me explain, Shane, before you spoil the surprise, okay? I'm so sorry. I was supposed to have sent you an SMS message earlier, and I neglected.
What the fuck is SMS?
Text.
Yeah, that's what we call it.
So I didn't do that. So here's what we're going to do. Tomorrow night, we're going to go live again and talk about Impact Bound for Glory and WWE Hell in a Cell in a special edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, which is why we are not going to be covering Impact tonight, if that's acceptable to you.
Okay, well, tune in, fans, because Impact was the show of the week.
Oh, shoot. That's a tease. That's good. Well done.
Impact, for me, for Shane Helms, was a better written story, a written show than either of these. And I like both. I like both of these shows. I like both of these shows. That's not a knock. I'm just saying for the week, Impact won.
Wait, Damien. So we're doing a double BTB tomorrow night.
Double BTB. We're going to also talk about Impact Wrestling. It's going to be tomorrow night, Friday night, 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Fight TV and across our social media networks. But you know what? The special programming doesn't stop there. The marketing department has presented a proposal, and I want to live on air give you guys the opportunity to vote on that proposal. And that is that next week, one night only, 1 week only, we go live immediately following Impact and Dynamite on Wednesday night on TV, which airs Dynamite internationally. 1 week only. Next week, special show.
So I got to be dressed?
I mean, that's...
Listen,
I've heard... wear a collar and elbow shirt at least, unless you're going to...
heard that on Zoom. I know this is StreamYard, but I've heard on Zoom, now it's socially acceptable to pull your dick out.
and that's the thing.
Am I wrong?
Jeffrey Tubin's been with us for half the show, and you haven't...
Should I not have done that? Was that wrong?
Oh, no. Jeffrey Tubin, he's been with us for half the show. I'm surprised you haven't noticed, Dave or Shane.
All right.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, sure. Exactly.
Wrong. But no, we're not going to do it for that reason. But I do want to, again, the discussion here that you guys bring to the show is absolutely tremendously fantastic. And I struggle with the pressure I apply to try to get through on a timely manner. But I do know, as the producer of the show, I need to contain the both of you into your words and make them concise enough to fit into a 2-hour period or 120-minute period. And that's because of our broadcast limitations. But in an effort to give back to the audience, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, we go live. Next Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, I believe it is, right? Or 11 p.m. Eastern, we go live as well, immediately following Dynamite and NXT. And hey, we see what that does. You know what? We've got a great partner in Fight TV. They air Dynamite live, so our fans in New Zealand, our fans in Finland, our fans in Brazil, our fans all over the world will have a chance to get a live post show from the PWR team after Impact, after Dynamite.
Fantastic. Hey, Shane, I think we should absolutely have a drink that night. There's no question. If we're going to be up that late, I say we celebrate.
Oh, we're going to have to. I mean, why change now? I just know I'm going to be on location. I might be in a hotel next Wednesday. So
whoa.
Hold on. The marketing director just called me, and he heard your comments about having had drinks and going live. And this is... Oh, wait, it's okay? You want to try it?
He fucked up. He fucked up.
Creates cash. Got it. Eric says it's okay, guys.
Tell Eric I said thanks for that contract. But yeah, I will be on location next week. So hopefully I'm hoping the hotel has good Wi-Fi. If not, I'll do the best I can. I won't be at Casa de la Helms next week.
It'll make it that much more exciting, Shane.
I don't know. I think you need me. I think the 1 week I wasn't here, show was a little subpar. I'm just
you got heat with Al Snow?
No, I love Al Snow. And
Hey,
Al Snow was in Rudy. I didn't even know that because Jessica, his wife, posted it. He was in not Rudy Giuliani, your boy.
Oh, thank
He
you.
was in the football movie. He was in the football movie, I should say, Rudy.
Uh-huh.
I never knew that. And then the screen caps of him, and the motherfucker's right there. That's amazing.
Yeah. How about that? He also, Uncle Al had both knees replaced this week. So he is
really?
so he's at
The knees
home
on his
resting.
legs?
Yeah, both of them. Yeah.
He is a bow-legged motherfucker. Is it going to help them bow legs? I bet if he corrects them bow legs, he's going to be at least 3 inches taller. And now he's really going to look down on us. That's some bullshit. So I'm not a fan of this knee replacement.
Yeah, so he'll be he's actually home resting, doing great. A little bit of pain, but Al Snow expects a full recovery.
I imagine so. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We want to thank everyone for joining us all around the world. We want to wish Al Snow a quick and speedy recovery. We want to thank you for joining us again here on Fight, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, of course. Do us a favor, folks. Spread the word. Get the word out about the show. Spread it. Share it with your friends. Share it on your page. Dave Hero is very social media engaged. He's a Facebook rep. Shane's a Twitter rep. I don't do that kind of stuff. But
thanks for helping out.
We will obviously appreciate you sharing the show, and especially since we are bringing you some special episodes live Friday night after SmackDown. You're right.
Just say tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. It's
going to be 9 p.m. Eastern time after SmackDown. We will be live with Be the Booker for Hell in a Cell, and also a review of Impact Wrestling and Be the Booker for the TNA Bound for Glory. So, gentlemen, before we end the show tonight, I do have to, in the vein of Be the Booker, and Shane, you're going to love this, so get ready. I do want you to, because in 33 minutes, there is the final presidential debate. And I do want you guys to be the book tonight's debate between the Democratic candidate and the Republican candidate. And Shane, the excitement on your face is amazing. Do you want to book it?
If Trump actually gets muted, I think he's going to lose his fucking mind and walk off like he did in that 60-minute interview, which I actually gave him the benefit of the doubt because they said, we're going to release the real footage of what happened in this interview. He released the real footage and he still sounds like a fucking idiot. I'm like, did you listen to that? You sound even worse in your real shit.
I watched it, and he's got some problems.
Yeah.
So you would book the blue guy to go over.
100%. 4 years ago, I was rolling in the dough. Like, everything was fine.
Hey, that's actually a great question. Can you bet on the election? Because I want to get in on this action.
I don't know, because I would have bet 4 years ago that the right choice was common fucking sense. Hey, don't give it back to the people that fucked us up before.
Shane,
keep it with the people that are doing good.
Thank you, Shane, for booking tonight's debate. David Hero, your choice now.
Hey, if I'm booking it, I'm booking a retribution run-in. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, wait. Is it the meme we've seen for so long? Bernie Sanders comes in with the Money in the Bank briefcase to cash in.
What a disaster. What a disaster.
That actually would be good if Mustafa Ali comes at the end and go, really? I can't get booked on this shit either?
I really want to see if Trump does have Biden's ex-business partner sitting in the front row. Amazing.
No,
amazing.
His kid's business partner.
They're all in the same thing together. They're all in the same business. Each and every one of them. Both sides.
So that is fictitious booking of.
All I know is, thank God, nobody will ever find my laptop in a swimming pool because don't gotta worry about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I don't drive all the way across the country to put my laptop in a mysterious phone shop or whatever the fuck it was of my enemy. I'm gonna make sure I don't do that.
Please don't.
And I'm not gonna have a basement in a pizza parlor that don't exist, because the same people that believe that basement exists believe that fucking laptop exists. Those are the same people.
I've never read it much on this show. I actually
we call those people morons. I don't know if that's the technical term, but that's the term that's lobbed out there.
So you talk about your old electronic devices. Do you guys remember Inspector Gadget?
I have every one of mine still, just so you know.
Inspector Gadget, Go-Go Gadget, he had the siren on his head, under his hat, and he got the note from, what was it, Mr. Big? Was it Mr. Big? What was it, Cat? Yes. Whatever it was. And it was self-destruct after 30 seconds. I got that gimmick on all my devices.
Oh, I just kept all my devices. No one's getting those.
But there comes a time where it is out of your own control.
Yeah, but that's when you remove the hard drive and torch it.
See, everybody knows I'm a pervert. That's all you got to do. Just like if my shit comes out, all of y'all would be like, yeah, we know, we get that.
Well, and to that point, everybody knows one of the candidates in the debate tonight is a pervert, and that's been perfectly fine. And I'm not knocking it because Clinton set that precedence, which is fantastic, by the way. But
and on that subject, Monica is a great follower on Twitter. If you don't follow her, she's actually fucking hilarious.
She has started to own her stuff, hasn't she?
She's been doing it for years, but I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you can't scrub that shit out. It's there.
Yeah, she's fucking fantastic. Great, she's a great follower, entertaining as hell.
I'm very impressed by you. That's much cleaner than anything I thought you would say at that point. I'm impressed. I thought there'd be something about a cigar, a dress.
No. To be fair, she's really good at spitting out knowledge. So
Jesus God. So that is the end. Thank you.
But that's full circle because we started with Hercules, fucking Marvel Boy, who's half a cockroach, and now we're back here. This podcast had a little something for everybody.
Everybody.
For Shane Helms,
even the Rat Packers.
For Shane Helms, for the Wu-Tang Clan, for David Hero, for the entire PWR team, David Nelson saying thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you with a special edition live after Smacky Wacky tomorrow night right here on our social media channels and Fight TV. Be the Booker returns. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you soon.